Guys, welcome to a classic movie review of 1949's Criss Cross, starring Burt Lancaster, Yvonne De Carlo and Dan Duryea. Now, this was directed by Robert Siodmak, and it's the twisty-turny tale of an armoured truck driver who plans an inside job with a local gangster. Only problem is, neither can trust the other one, and seeing as said gangster is now going out with his ex-wife, conspiracies, double crosses and heist gone wrong shootouts surely must be on the horizon. Now, on first glance, a heist picture with a love triangle and a schmuck of a leading man may seem just by the numbers, especially from an era that was brimming with film noir masterworks. But I would consider this a genuine under-the-radar classic with great performances, some great long-gone LA locations, and culminating in one of the most stomach-punch, downbeat and cynical endings in 1950s cinema. Let's take a look.
Steve, all those things that happened to us, everything that went before, we'll forget it. You'll see I'll make you forget it. After it's done, after it's all over and we're safe, it'll be just you and me, you and me.
So Criss Cross sees Steve Thompson, played by a so handsome it's annoying Burt Lancaster, returning home to LA after months of just bumming around the country to try and forget his divorce to his ex-wife Anna, played here by the stunning Yvonne De Carlo, who you may or may not remember as playing Sephora in The Ten Commandments. And it was also in another Burt Lancaster movie, Brute Force, in 1947. Anyway, Steve gets his old job as an armoured car payroll guard back and tries to get on with his life. Problem is, he can't forget Anna, and before you can say femme fatale, they hook up again against the advice of Steve's mother and his childhood detective friend, Lieutenant Peter Ramirez, played by an underused Stephen McNally.
Why don't you go outside, Steve, and find some other place down the street?
What's the matter with this place, Lieutenant?
Pete. The name is Pete. I'm your friend, believe me. You know what's the matter with this place.
And he should have listened to them too, as Anna is now shacked up with slimy little gangster Slim Dundee. Great name, by the way. Played by Dan Duryea, who I love in this. Anyway, when Slim catches them together in his house, Steve blabs out a plan about robbing his armoured car company, something the lovely but possibly dodgy Anna has encouraged. Part of a plan to double-cross the dangerous Slim and then flee town together. Anyway, in true noir style here, we get flashbacks, voiceovers. It's all smoky bars and quick-fire dialogue. The inside job heist element is perhaps something we've seen quite a few times, and this being a movie in the film noir genre, we know that there's a high probability of things not turning out all rosy. But of course, half the fun lies in watching these characters squirm and or reveal their true colours, and double crosses backfiring. Now, Criss Cross is a heist film, but only in the same way that, say, 1995's Heat is a heist film. We don't have a full-fledged caper movie here. There's more focus on romantic tragedy. This isn't about financial greed or financial gain, but about two guys who are suckers for a dame and who both don't want to see the other one come out on top. But again, like Heat, that's not to say there's no action, and we of course get a robbery scene here that's played out under the fog of a smoke screen after a dazzling bird's eye view shot to set up the scene. And again, of course, there's no one character who's morally worthy of getting away with the loot. And speaking of morally repugnant characters, before I mention anyone else, I have to mention Dan Duryea's antagonist, Slim Dundee here. He's a right little slime ball. You could reach into the screen and punch him. Duryea could play either the underdog loser or the conniving villain just really well. And he does get taught a lesson here, but not after being implicit in a heartbreaking final act that, to be fair, makes sure that everyone gets what they deserve. Now, Burt Lancaster, who's one of my personal favourite actors, likewise does some great work here. Lancaster, who's a big guy and more than believable when he's roughing people about, also has that kind of hurt puppy dog face. And here the whole plot and all the mess that ensues is essentially because he's a big softie and he can't stay away from his ex-wife. And to be fair, when that's Yvonne De Carlo, you almost can't blame him, because she's right up there with some of the most enticing femme fatales the genre had to offer. De Carlo didn't become the household name that she probably deserved, despite playing the wife of Moses and Lily Munster, incidentally, on the Munsters TV show. So yeah, the cast is rock solid here, and this is important, which sounds like an obvious thing to say, but just like the Western genre, these gritty noir crime pictures were released in such volume and with not massively dissimilar plots, sometimes. And so this is where the talent on screen and the crew behind the camera really make all the difference. Now, Criss Cross is a favourite of mine, but in terms of its place in the pantheon of truly great film noirs, Double Indemnity, Laura and The Big Combo, etc., it can get a little bit lost amongst those, which is a shame.
You can't get me out of here. You can't do a thing to me. Not a thing.
Now, what I have noticed rewatching Criss Cross recently is how many echoes of it I've seen since in other movies. Obviously, I've mentioned Heat a couple of times already, but check out a tense hospital ward scene here where an incapacitated Burt Lancaster is sure the guy waiting down the hall has come to assassinate him. Those shots down the hall would turn up again in The Godfather. And after being involved in a criminal shootout mid-robbery, Lancaster's character is deemed a local hero by the newspapers, which of course he is not. Something not too dissimilar from Travis Bickle being hailed as a local hero after the Blood and Bullets finale of Taxi Driver. The heist itself, with its gas canister smokescreen, appears again in 1960's The League of Gentlemen. Now, Criss Cross was adapted from Don Tracy's 1934 novel of the same name and is such a lean and simple story that wastes none of its 88-minute runtime. There is the side story of Lancaster's childhood buddy who is now a cop, and maybe that had some more mileage in it. But these movies are often so lean to the point that they hard-boil everything down to the key components. And honestly, come the ending of this, you'll feel like the film has just punched you in the face and faded to black. Oh yeah, also watch out here for the film debut of Tony Curtis as a dance partner in the nightclub. And a great turn from Alan Napier as heist mastermind Finchley. Napier, of course, played Alfred the Butler in the 60s Batman TV series. So yeah, if you've yet to, then add this to your film noir watch list, whether it's Noirvember or any other month of the year. Go check it out.
Slim!
It's all right. He's got his money. We're all through with him.
You think we're through. Don't you see? Don't you know what's going to happen? He's on his way back to Slim. He'll tell Slim where I am right this minute.